Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An RH negative mother carrying an RH positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every RH negative pregnancy.
Hello and welcome to the Outside View, wherein today we talk about the big tournament preview. It's what, a couple of days away the tournament begins. 8 teams, Bangladesh playing their tournament for the first time, England defending champions, New Zealand playing at home, Australia multi-time T20 World Cup champions, and 4 more teams. So it's 8 teams battling it out. Each team plays the other teams in 7 league games before top 4 play in the semi-finals and then the finals. That's how the tournament is all scheduled. 31 games, 5 venues across New Zealand. Herein, I welcome Danewani Kirk, Julia Price, Brittany Cooper, and Boria Majumdar to the show. Welcome, everyone. The first up, the 2017 World Cup was a landmark moment for women's cricket in many ways. We saw a lot of broadcasting viewerships broken. We saw how the women's cricket has finally come to the fore. So just some thoughts on the entire tournament and how the game has changed in the last 5 years. Dane, you want to start?
Yeah, look, 2017 was so needed for women's cricket just in general across the world, and the final at Lord's, packed Lord's. We just felt like something special was going to happen after that when it comes to women's cricket, and it has. The following, everything has grown in leaps and bounds. Not just the skill from the players and the athleticism that we see today. I think 2017 really set up women's cricket across the world, and it was incredible to be part of. Came agonizingly short against England, but just to be part of that, we just honestly felt like something special was brewing, not within our setup, but within the whole tournament. And it was just a fun tournament first of all, and a great display of women's cricket.
The greatest display of women's cricket that happened in 2017. Julie, you've covered a lot of women's cricket since then. You've been in coaching things. How much has it grown the game, even in the associate nations as well as the full nations?
Yeah, well, I mean, majority of the associate nations are always watching these games. They get it being lived into their countries, and they aspire to one day play in a World Cup themselves. I mean, they have to go through the process, and the steps have been fantastic. The tournaments are getting bigger and stronger every time. You can see the skill sets are getting much better in the associate nations all the time, and they get inspired by being able to watch these games on TV. And obviously the 2017 final at Lord's was unbelievably amazing, a full crowd, and it was just such a good thing for women's cricket. And I think that was a really good launching pad for not just the 50 over game, but also the T20 game. We saw that in the World Cup in Australia and in 2020 as well, with the record crowd there. So I think that's a big part of it, is that we've got a lot of new fans out there that are jumping on board the women's game, because they can see that the professionalism, with more investment that we've got in the game, that the girls are getting better and better. They're getting more professional, they're hitting bigger sixes, they're scoring more runs, they're getting better access to the better fields, and it's just becoming mainstream now, which is great to see.
Going mainstream, as media have been covering a lot since the 2017 World Cup, 5 years for this particular World Cup. Your first thoughts on this upcoming edition, and what are you most excited about, Brittany?
For me, I'm pretty excited about that. It's a tournament that teams have been waiting a long time for. From looking back of the 2017 World Cup, all the excitement, you saw in that tournament to see South Africa coming to play, with reaching to the level of the England and Australia team. You saw India also, who made the final. I think the fact that the tournament was hosted in England, where there's a lot of fan base or interest in women's cricket. You saw that, it was held at Lord's and it was sold out. And that tournament kind of really set things for a lot of teams, a lot of board to realize that, we have to put a lot more investment into women's cricket. It's great to see that, now it's going to be hosted in New Zealand, and a lot of teams have played series building up to this World Cup. I'm really looking forward to see how South Africa do in this World Cup, because I think they are going to be dark horses in this World Cup, to be honest, because looking back at the past series, they haven't been to full strength, probably against just West Indies, where Lizelle Lee and Danny were available to play. But if you look at when they played in India, and even the recent series against West Indies, they wasn't to the full strength. Unfortunately, no, they're still on, but it excited to see that there's a lot of young players coming in and stepping up and will be filling that gap that will be left by Dani, unfortunately, for her injury. You look at India, you're going to look at Bangladesh and Pakistan. I don't think that you should rule them out. The fact that they are lacking game practice, but I think they have this fighting spirit in them that, doesn't matter what team they're going to be coming up against, they're going to always give it their all. So it's going to be a very exciting tournament to look forward. And the fact that later on in the year, the Commonwealth Games is going to be played in England, which is going to bring a lot of more fan base.
Brittany is excited for the World Cup. I know for a change, I know this answer from Boria, but Boria, I'm still going to ask you, what are you most excited for this World Cup?
All of our panelists, and each of them have been there, done that, and each of them have made this change happen. At one level, there has been change. At another level, I expect this tournament to take that change to a bit of a crescendo. So, for example, I'll be specific. When the Virat Kohli-led team went to the UAE, or the Rohit Sharma-led team go to Australia this year, we will say it's the Indian cricket team going to Australia, right? This is not the Indian women's cricket. It's the Indian cricket. Let's be clear about these things. Fundamental change needs to happen. This is not the Mithali Raj-led Indian women's team. This is the Mithali Raj-led Indian team. Now, today, right now. And that is the change I want. You had to put out a tweet saying, influencers, please talk about the women's team playing the World Cup. For what? The country of 1 billion plus needs to get behind this sport. And the moment we have even 10% of that potential exploited, trust me, this sport will become 50 times bigger. The WIPL will become a reality. The clamor should be for that. We cannot be satisfied with what we've seen in the last 4 years, because that's the tip of the iceberg. And again, a selfish point, if India wins, that will happen. So let India win.
Selfishness is coming up to the fore, but end of the day, what Boria mentioned is very correct. The terminologies, like for example, we've evolved from batsman to batter the same way we need to get evolved from a men's or a women's cricket team to the cricket team of that particular country. Basic terminology changes need to happen, and I think so all of us need to evolve there.
No, Yash, it's not about semantics. It is not about semantics. Dene, Brittany and Julia, you and me saying here, oh, you know what, let's make it this. Sorry, it's inside. Inside the change has to happen. You've got to wake up at 3:30 watching Mithali Raj go out and bat. That's inside. You cannot say, oh, you know what, go and do it. That's what change is. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think this World Cup is our greatest opportunity to mainstream that change. International Women's Day, Women's Month, March, World Cup, broadcast, 93 shows on Red Sports and Women's Fit Zone. Some of the greatest legends and experts talking about it. Back it, man. Back it. Celebrate this tournament as if, this is our opportunity. If we are able to do that, we've arrived.
Anyone wants to add here? Boria has pretty much covered the entire thing.
Pretty much.
Let's come down to that conditions in New Zealand. What do you expect of those conditions? Dane, you played about 2 years back, just before that World Cup in Australia. You pretty much know those conditions? What do you make out of those conditions, and what do you feel about the squads and everything?
Yeah, look, we thoroughly enjoyed the conditions. Our pace bowlers absolutely love bowling there. We said it might not take as much spin early, but as it dries out, they might, spinners might come into play at the back end of the tournament. It's generally very good wickets. As I mentioned, our pace bowlers love bowling there. We enjoyed batting there thoroughly. I think that the nice thing about New Zealand is it just gives you value for really good cricket. So if you go out there and you apply yourself, you can score a lot of runs, and we saw it now with the New Zealand India series. And on the flip side with the bowling, if you bowl really good areas and you allow the wicket to assist you, it assists you in that regard as well. Smaller fields, I found, but still very good. A beautiful place to play cricket. Again, we loved it. You can see all the Instagram photos. A lot of players are doing a lot of sightseeing and having a lot of fun. But I think we can get ready for a really fun and good, exciting tournament. And I don't think the conditions would change as drastically as one might think over, I guess, a month of cricket.
Not a lot of changes is what Dane expects. The conditions are good. It's a lot of Instagram-worthy photos are coming out from New Zealand already. Let me come down to a very important pointer. All the top 4 teams have been playing a lot more against each other in various leagues, be it the WPPL, be it the 100, especially Australia and England. Do they have that advantage because they basically know the players well, share the dressing rooms together? Do you feel that that's an advantage, Julia?
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage having these challenging games. Obviously, the top 4 teams are going to be very competitive, and it's hard to really distinguish between them all. So them playing each other, they're going to get to know each other a little bit more, but it's about finding that difference when you get to play them in the real thing, which is the World Cup. But yeah, by them playing those key games, I think that's really going to get them, game hardened and playing under pressure, being able to execute under pressure, and they're the sort of things that you're going to need in a World Cup, particularly when it comes to the back end of the tournament.
Rather than waiting for the back end of the tournament, the top 4 teams are going to be a lot more competitive. I want to take you all. There's a bit of change. Sri Lanka did not qualify for the World Cup as many would have expected. So Chamari Atapattu and her team are missing. But there is a surprising factor. Bangladesh are playing the World Cup for the very first time. How much this is going to be important for Bangladesh as a team, and what's a message that goes out to the lower ranked teams, and what are the kind of changes that you would want to see in a World Cup? Should the World Cup be made from an 8 to a 12 team World Cup or something? Brittany?
I believe that Bangladesh should be a team to make a statement for the lower ranked teams and the associate team, and it shows that the importance playing any regular series. If you look at Bangladesh being ranked higher than Sri Lanka was able to qualify above them. So it goes to the association teams that even whenever they get to play a series, the importance they have to take from it. And also for Bangladesh, it will be a huge opportunity to showcase the talent, because we know that Bangladesh women cricketers don't really get to showcase the talent in terms of being shown on TV. It will be exciting to see that, what they can do in the ODI format. They have played in recent T20 World Cups, but in the ODI format, I think a lot of people don't know the quality and talents that Bangladesh have to offer. And I totally agree that, World Cup need to be expanded to 12 teams. There's lots of talented countries, associate nations that have a lot of talent, and it's unfortunate that we only have an 8-team tournament. But just say, comparing to the men, look, they have a Super 12 and then Super this and Super that, and it's countless cricket. You even look at the under 90 tournament, that men tournament that was played in the West Indies. Even though the teams did not reach to the quarterfinals, the semifinals, each team still played the exact amount of games needed, meaning that there was a lot of experience and cricket being played and knowledge being shared. And just to stretch on the earlier question about the top 4 teams playing consistently amongst each other, the fact that with all these Premier Leagues playing around the country and they playing against each other, there's a lot of knowledge that's being shared and a lot of knowledge that's being learned from each individual players that I won't be surprised if Danny, after she plays a tournament and she goes back to South Africa and say, well, this is what Perry does, this is what Stefani do and stuff like that. So it's all about sharing that experience to improve your team and improve women's cricket on the whole.
Danny, do you share those kind of information with your team?
Absolutely, anything to win. No, it's fun, to play with and against all of these players and also share. And also you learn a lot as an individual as well. I mean, I didn't grow up looking like, okay, Elise Perry, but I mean, she was on the scene, many years before me, and to think that I would share changing with her was so far-fetched in my head. I never thought I would, and to be able to do that was just incredible when I started with the Big Bash. So you have to share that knowledge, and you have to share to the players as well that maybe don't have the opportunity to go there. It makes for a good and healthy environment, both in those leagues and then in these competitions as well.
Maria, what do you feel about more teams probably playing that World Cup? We're just having 8 teams, very consistent. I understand that this format suits a lot because each team plays the other team at least once. So you probably have the best 4 playing the semi-finals. But what's your thought about playing, say, 12 or 16 teams and have, say, something like a Super 16, then have 8 teams play the World Cup or something like that?
You would want to have more teams to have more people get exposure, right? Because the moment you give people opportunity to play at the highest level in the World Cup, it instills pride. There's a sense of nationalism, representing South Africa, West Indies, Australia, India. So that's what sport is all about. I mean, we love the PNG story. We love the Thailand story. These are stories. What is sport? Sport is storytelling. What is Dene Van Dijk? She's an inspiration for everybody, right? These are legends. Julia Price. My daughter wants to grow up to be a Britney. That's what they are. They are stories of aspiration, of dreams getting fulfilled. That dreams do come true. The moment more people get that kind of opportunity, that's where the sport gets enriched. So the short answer is yes. At the same time, I understand where ICC is coming from. That you have a round robin format, you have a 1-month tournament, you cannot drag, you have broadcast issues, you have telecast revenue. So I understand all that. So it's a thin line. I don't want to be critical of the organizers here. But yes, in an ideal world, the world is not ideal. In an ideal world, we would want more teams and more people to get exposure.
My next question is fairly simple, but I'll make it difficult. Who do you think are starting as favorites in the tournament? And I'm just putting Australia aside. Now tell me, who do you think are starting as favorites in the tournament? Julia, you first. There's no Australia in there because everyone knows that Australia is starting favorites.
Yeah, got it. All good. South Africa definitely, not just because they ranked number 2. I think and I'm sure Dane would agree with this, but they've been heavily involved in the WBBL and Australian cricket for a fair while now, and I think that's helped improve their team as well as making the cricket world a lot smaller. I think, as you were mentioning before, just that information sharing. But it's sort of, and I was going to ask Dane too, how does that lose the rivalry between countries because you start to get to know people more so or not? Well, I don't know. How does it work?
Oh, yes and no, I guess. No, I think it just closes the gap, because you learn stuff that you didn't know, and you learn stuff that you might not have picked up maybe in a series, for instance, where you spend 2 months with these players and you might not have picked something up in a series of 3 games or something like that. So yeah, I think it closes the gap as well. As you mentioned, a lot of our players are heavily involved as well, and I'm glad for that, because no longer we sit here and we say, oh, it's the we always said when we started playing, it's the big three. It's England. At the time, it was England, New Zealand, and Australia, and then India came in. So it was like the big four. We're not speaking about that anymore. We're speaking about a South Africa now, and we're speaking about 6 teams almost. If you think about it, we're speaking about 6 teams, and it comes down to these leagues as well. I wholeheartedly believe that.
And Nane, who's your team? She's already picked South Africa. Yeah, Buri, you want to add something?
Just to add to Julia's question, I mean, does that sort of reduce animosity and what? The best example that comes to mind is I don't think there'll be another monkey game, for example, between India and Australia after the IPL. Harbhajan Singh and Andrew Simons played for the same unit, the Mumbai Indians. It's not going to happen. If you go and check Harbhajan Singh, he says Andrew Simons came to my room drunk at 11 p.m. and we had another drink, continued till 3 p.m. and hugged each other and cried. And everything was gone. It's not going to happen. So yes, these leagues are great because they break down these so-called artificial barriers and bring people together. So I'm all for them. And I'm telling you what Bhaji told me, that Andrew came to my room, I was captain of the Mumbai Indians, and we bonded. Can you imagine the two of them together, Monkey Gate, all of that, what happened in Australia, and sometime later playing part of the same cricket team. So yes, these leagues have helped enormously, and that's sport. For me, sport is far more than results, far more than winning and losing, far more than anything, the mundane. Sport is life. Sport is a microcosm of emotions in trying to understand human life and become a better society. That's why all of us are here celebrating a carnival called the World Cup. I don't care who wins and loses. You said Australia. Let Australia win. Big deal. But the fact that it will be 1 month of quality cricket, us waking up at 3:30 a.m. every morning India time, celebrating with these legends of the game day in, day out, I think all of us will become better human beings. That for me is the biggest thing.
I think for me, I just think the key point for me is that, and what I'm very proud of Australia is that someone had to do it first. And I think because of the example that Australia set, and then we've had South African players come in and Kiwi players come in and a few of the West Indian players and a lot of English players and even Indian players now, it's really grown the game and it's putting pressure on those organisations that may have not said women's cricket's something that we want to invest in. And I think it's really put that pressure on particularly those top 5 countries that's really starting to see the women's cricket as a viable option that people, and a commodity that people want to see. And the quality of the game's getting better all the time because we're constantly challenging each other by playing in each other's competitions, teaching each other, learning from each other, trying to be better than everyone else, but you've got to try and keep ahead of them as well. So to me, I find that really exciting that, we've got this World Cup of people who've got intimate knowledge of each other, but how are you still going to have that edge over them, even though you might be former teammates from when you're at the Sixers or when you're at the Hurricanes or wherever you were. So to me, I think it makes it really exciting because the women's game's getting tighter and tighter when it could have blown out a lot with that lack of support from some of the organisations. And we've already discussed about, the women's IPL in India. And to me, this hopefully keeps forcing India's hand because everyone else is jumping above India at the moment. And I know India like to win. So to me, I think, they're going to be falling behind if they don't get on this and start supporting their women's team a lot better.
Yash, you know that. I've spoken to Jay and Saurav multiple times, and I know both Jay and Saurav are very, very keen on a WIPL. I mean, all I'm hoping, and desperately so, India puts in a good show. That clamor for a women's IPL will grow. And I know the administrators will have corporate support. And we will have a women's IPL in 23. So if you ask me, what's your vision? My vision is a great Indian showing, giving the BCCI that final push to get us a women's IPL, which will enrich world sport, give people employment, add television revenue, make these people rock stars, get people more contracts, make the women's game equal. Come on, Reforms Commission of the IOC, 50-50. It's still not 50-50 for women and men's cricket. We've got to get there. The sooner the better.
The sooner the better, 50-50 for men and women. That's the vision. Definitely that's there. Let's come down to the tournament back. Julia told it's South Africa for her. Dane, your favorites? I am assuming it's South Africa.
It has to be. I'm still heavily invested in that side, so it has to be. I'm not gonna sit here and say somebody else. If I'll get a couple of messages as well. So, and I want to stay married as well.
Brittany, who do you think are starting favorites in that tournament?
Well, for me, I have three starting favorites, and that's New Zealand, South Africa, and the West Indies. For me, the fact that New Zealand have the home advantage, they've come off just a really, I would say really difficult series, but against a really great opponent that Danny spoke earlier on about, later on in tournament spin will be a big factor. The fact that India have a really, really good spinners on the team, and the fact that the way how New Zealand counter their spin attack will be very effective going forward. And also South Africa, you look at their past 4 or 5 series that they've won, all the series that they played against the last 5 series that they are coming to par, and I think they basically just knocking on that door, waiting to. I don't think they should be knocking. I think they should just literally be kicking down that door and saying, well, yeah, there's no longer the big 3 or the big 4, big 5. It's we are here and we have come to give a statement. And also West Indies. Of course, I have to support my team. I know they haven't been playing the best cricket they are capable of, but we are considered one of the dark horses because we know that any day once we show up, and it's hard to keep us down once we show up.
That's a 3-team one. Boria, you have any other team to add?
Obviously, there is one level of, based on results. My question to you is, talk about the 2017 World Cup. Did you say India at the start of the tournament? The 2 journalists or 7 journalists went to see off that team. You know that, right? 2. And when the team came back at 2:30 a.m. in the morning after making that final,
46 were present.
2020, did you say India? No, right? This is the World Cup, man. This is the World Cup. Any team that soaks in pressure, any team that steps up to the big stage and gains momentum. Look, this is a very close tournament. Australia, yes. Is Australia a beatable team? 100% yes. India proved that last October. We would have won that contest had that no ball not been there. And that was a wrong no ball. I will still say it was a wrong no ball. It was a mistake. Go ask Jhulan Goswami, she'll give an arm and a leg to say it was a wrong no ball. And I believe that. So the point is, any team can beat any team on a given day. And India, according to me, is a 200 times better 50 over side than a 20 over side. 200 times better. So is India the favorite? I think India will definitely make the semi-final. And when it's a knockout, any team, Harmanpreet Kaur 100, Ashmriti Mandhana 100, are they capable? Yes, they are. I want a Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami fairy tale. 40 years of cricket together, getting to where the game is in India. The two deserve that last piece of silverware. The country will give an arm and a leg to get that.
Who do you think are the underdogs and potentially are going to cause a few upsets in the tournament? Who should I start with? Brittany, you want to start? You cannot pick West Indies now because you've already picked them as favorites. So that option has gone. So you have to pick a team you don't think is favorites but are underdogs and are going to cause some upsets.
For me, Pakistan. Pakistan is the team to look out for. As I say, they are coming in as underdog and they have a lot to prove to the cricketing world. And also the fact that their board mentioned that they might have a women's PSL is something to look forward to. So it will be something exciting to look forward to, that we want to play for and bring pride to Pakistan people.
Pakistan is what Brittany says. Boria, you want to add?
For me, this whole underdog thing again brings me to the fact that any team can win, right? But according to me, the bigger question, Yash, is Bisma Maroof is a world story. Look at where she's coming from. Look what statement she's making. Talk about, for me, Pakistan winning is Bisma Maroof winning and telling the world, you know what? Miracles can happen. Can you think of this statement 10 years back? No. So look at where we have come with progress. And that's where I want to go with. I want this game to be there for every individual. I don't want a Shefali Verma to have to dress like a boy to go and play the game. I want a Bisma Maroof statement. And I'm speaking here as an Indian celebrating Bisma Maroof. And I will. I think this is the bigger statement that is being made to the world. I think Dene van Niekerk not being there is a blow for South Africa. Not because she's part of our panel. I think it's a blow. captain not being there is a blow. However much he says we are a great side, no, it's a blow. It is a blow. When it comes to that, the leader not there, the champion not there, and these are champions you're talking about. That little piece of pressure, that one moment of brilliance, that one strategic call. These are important decisions that will. So South Africa for me is not a favorite; it's an underdog. They're a great side, but they're lacking their leader. So can they step up and overcome that deficiency? We'll see. But I want to see greater stories emanate. And Bisma Maroof, Brittany mentioned Pakistan. For me, Pakistan is about storytelling, and I think Bisma Maroof is a fantastic story.
Bisma Maroof is a fantastic story. For people who don't know, Bisma Maroof got married, had a child, took a maternity leave, and came back. That is the story that Boria Majumdar is talking about. We've two underdogs already, Pakistan, South Africa. Let me come down to Dane. Dane, who's your underdog? Which is your underdog team?
Yeah, not because we recently played them, but I think West Indies, and not because Brittany's on the panel, but I've seen firsthand that when they are on song, they can beat anyone, and very convincingly as well. We've been on the other side of that, and we've seen that. I've seen that firsthand. So for me, they have won a World Cup before, something I can't say that I have yet. I think they're going to cause some upsets, and you can't keep them away. I've spoken to some of their players because of these leagues and stuff, and they'll know when something's special, and they told me when they won the T20 World Cup, there's something special within their camp, and I heard Taylor saying that, and I thought, whoa, that's a dangerous West Indies side when they feel like there's something special on the horizon for them. So definitely my underdogs.
Definitely your underdogs. Julia, you want to add there? Any other teams? South Africa, Pakistan, West Indies?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking the West Indies as well. I mean, we know what amazing athletes and what great cricketers the West Indies have been. They've probably underperformed, though, I feel, with the talent that they've got in their squad. And, they haven't been the best finishers in the past. They've sort of started winning early in a series and then dropping off and nearly losing it or losing a series. So I think with the Courtney Walsh coming in, I think he's actually brought a different mindset to the group. I think they've got a lot of pride in who they are as a group of players, and I think he's really brought a lot of that history, which everyone knows who Courtney Walsh is, and I think that's been fantastic for the West Indian players. We saw them at the qualifiers in Zimbabwe this year. They weren't happy about having to go through the qualification process, and they didn't want to have to be there again. So I know that they want to have people take them seriously. They don't want to have to do that again. They want to be the best cricketers they can be. And we, like Dane just said, they played some fantastic cricket in the South African series, just to be pipped to the post. So I just think they've got a lot of raw talent there that I think Courtney's been really bringing together. And Stefano Taylor's a fantastic captain and has been leading from the front for a fair while as well.
Last couple of questions, and these are more from an emotional perspective. There are going to be a lot of players, we've already discussed, there are going to be a lot of players who want to retire after the tournament. I want to ask each one of you, who are you going to miss the most?
Everyone.
Everyone.
It's going to be sad. I personally don't want to single out anyone. I just think I mentioned it previously where I said it's going to be a sad day, that last day of the World Cup, because not taking away from every era has done something special for women's cricket, but just for me growing up and playing in this era, if I say it like that, if I can say it like that, it's going to be sad for me because just the impact in my time and while I was playing, just every single person I've had, everybody has had a hand in where women's cricket is at since day one till now. And for me, it's just going to be a sad day. I don't even know who is going to retire, but I know obviously when you look at the ages and stuff, there is going to be obviously some sad moments for a lot of players and teams.
Yes, indeed, it's going to be very sad to see these lads actually grow up seeing play cricket, and the fact that you've been able to share the same feel or have conversations with them, the fact that they'll be hanging up their boots, it's going to be disappointing, because we don't know when next you're going to have Matali Raj or a Goswami or a Katrimant, who have so much years and experience playing all over the world. The fact that we had the opportunity, Danny, to grow up and see they create history. And I know a lot of younger players who miss out on that opportunity, not being able to sit down in front of the table and be able to see what they have done for women's cricket around the world.
My choice would be, and I don't even know if she's retiring, but hopefully I'm just not retiring now, but is Catherine Brunt. I'm assuming she can't be too far off. Maybe I'm completely wrong and she's going to prove me wrong, but I think she's been amazing. I'm just retiring her. But she, she's been through the whole, like Dana was saying, that whole journey of from being an amateur to semi-professional to being professional now, to having won World Cups and being, getting I think it was OAM, what do you call it? No, what do you call it in America? In England, OBE, I don't even know what they call it. MBE, that's it. All the teams when they won, there's been so many, her spectrum of experiences really cover nearly the history of women's cricket, of where we've come from. So to me, she's sort of nearly that, that last sort of couple with Mitali Raj and Goswami and those girls that are just sort of pushing out, and all the girls that are going through now have never actually had to worry, hopefully, too much about having to balance their job and how they're going to, get their next meal and then turn up for cricket training and make sure they're making the team. So to me, it's a sad farewell, but at the same time, it's a really good positive step for women's cricket, knowing that everyone from here on is in a better place because of these players that have come through and done that.
They've done a lot for
me, Yash. When two members of your family all of a sudden stop doing the thing that they love, and as an academic, when I started to study women's cricket, Jhulan used to come home maybe every 14 days, right? And that's what she and I do. We catch up every 14 days in my house, each time she's in Calcutta. Mitali and I are on a call maybe every second day. That's the kind of friendship that has developed over the years. And so it's like a part of you. You've enjoyed and learned and grown with them, been through part of their trials and tribulations, been part of their highs and lows, seen them evolve as human beings and celebrities and stars and cricketers. So obviously, it will mean. So when Tendulkar retired, each one of us thought a piece of us was going. And being Sachin's biographer, more so for me, it is the same feeling with these two girls. They are very close. There's an emotional kind of attachment. So for me, it's obviously going to be Mitali Raj and Jhulan.
But I'd like to come down to that point of Julia, that because of all these legends, women's cricket is in a better place. And although it will be sad to see a lot of legends retiring, the good thing is they've taken women's cricket to a place wherein all of us can talk about it, and a lot of things.
One good thing. Next time when we are here in October, so there will be Julia Price, Brittany Cooper, Dene Van Niekerk, Jhulan Goswami, and Mitali Raj. That's the good thing.
I just hope Brittany and Danya are not there and are on the field playing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Let them play. But post-match interviews, we will request Dene to come and give us one, or Brittany to give us one, and we will ensure that Mitali and Jhulan does the crisscross.
That's a better choice, definitely. Let me come down to the final point before heading into this World Cup. I want to ask you guys, what's your favorite World Cup memory growing up? Or even till the last World Cup, what's your favorite World Cup memory? You want to start, Julia?
Sure. I'm going to have to say the 1997 World Cup. That was my first World Cup that I went, and we won it. It was actually a 12-team World Cup back then, except Japan was the 12th team and they pulled out, so it ended up being 11 teams. But either way, it was the best fun. India is always amazing to be playing cricket at. The experiences we have, we still talk about and laugh about. and all the mishaps as well. But just the tournament, meeting new players from around the world, and obviously winning it for me, and only having been in the team a couple of years at that stage, was just, you know, something I never would have dreamed of. So to me, obviously, and I know Julian Goswami was in that crowd of 80,000 that day. So, and she started playing because of that game. So it's sort of nice that I feel like maybe there's a little bit of what I did helped her push along and become the player that she's become. And, you know, it's great to know that was the case at all. So yeah, 97 World Cup for me.
97 World Cup for Julia. Brittany, what's your favorite World Cup memory?
I think a lot of people might say, well, you know, you won the World Cup in 2016. That should be a favorite World Cup memory. But actually, it's not. It's in the T20 World Cup that was played in West Indies in 2018, where we played in St. Lucia. And, well, it was actually my second home World Cup. It was first time playing in St. Lucia. And for me, the experience that, I won't say playing at home, but playing at home in St. Lucia, and the crowd, and when the anthem was being played and you heard the crowd sing the anthem, and you just felt all this emotion and passion, and, you know, your eye opened up to realize, you know, you're so privileged to be standing here, to be wearing this clothes, to be representing millions of people around the Caribbean. For me, that is so far my best World Cup moment.
Best World Cup memory, if that's the case. Dane would want to do that same thing next year in South Africa. Dane, what's your favorite World Cup memory till now?
Yeah, the command of can't say I won a World Cup, but no, I think even though it was the hardest day of my life, or probably in my career, it was the 2017 semi-final. Yeah, just my first, I guess, stint as captain in a World Cup, and just incredibly proud of how the team, you know, conducted themselves that whole World Cup. Not the performances, but the compliments that not myself received, but I got a lot of compliments from the media and from people that worked at the World Cup about you know, just my players and my teammates, how incredible they were, not on the field but off the field, and that made me very proud. And you know, sometimes yes, you're there to play cricket, but you know, the lasting image that the team left by their performances was you know, people really liking the people, and you know, as I said, cricket isn't everything, and when you get those compliments, you realize that you know, you're doing something right. So I'm not saying I'm the reason for that, but it certainly made me very proud.
Certainly made her very proud. Boria, what's your favorite World Cup memory?
Yeah, 2017, when Julan was not doing too well, she would call and we would just chat, and she would say, you know, in Bangla to me, that maybe they'll drop me, they should drop me, and I'll tell the coach to drop me. And on the way to Derby, she sat in the front seat of the bus, generally doesn't, and told Tushar Arote that drop me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And all one can do as a friend and, you know, as an elder brother is inspire and push and encourage. Because I don't understand the technicalities of the game to give Julan that, you know, the advice about bowling, but you can help with mental kind of. So we were talking about the semi-final against Australia, and she said, how on earth does one get Meg Lanning out? And we kept chatting, and I was like, you can do it, just go do it. For us, do it. For the country, do it. And it was just a chat. And Julan Goswami bowls the ball of the World Cup for me. And my message to her was that jersey is mine. And the jersey is right in front of me at the moment. So, you know, and she came back and says, here it is. It's part of my museum. Come on. I mean, these are little things that you will forever stay with you. That these little moments, we celebrated together, we cried together, we laughed together. That's why sport is so good. That is why sport is sport. I mean, when Sachin gave that trophy to Sudhir Gautam, saying, come to the dressing room, and you as the fan, you deserve that trophy as much as 1 billion people. And fortunately or unfortunately, we are 1.3 billion here. We want this team to give us the best memory of the World Cup that has not yet come.
The best memory of the World Cup that has not yet come. When it comes to the 50-over World Cup, it's only Australia, England and New Zealand who have won it. Will we see a new winner, or will we see England taking it back-to-back titles, Australia or New Zealand coming it out and winning this World Cup, all for the next month to find out till April 3rd. We will be with you every day, every match of the World Cup with this panelist for the pre, mid and post-match shows. Join us then. Till then, this is Yash from the Outside View, the entire tournament preview.